Hi, I'm Justin Clareburt. I'm squad leader for Renovate at Mend.io. And today in this video, I'm going to give a quick overview of Renovate and what it is and what it looks like. And I'll show you how you can get it up and running on your repos. So firstly, let's take a look. What is Renovate? So Renovate is a tool for updating dependencies in your code. So if you've got some software, you're running your code, usually you're depending on some other software and you need to keep it up to date. Let's take a look at some examples. Here we go. I've got a bunch of repos on GitHub, all sorts of software. And for instance, I might have some code here in my demo Renovate. Not much code here, but it does contain a package file. And in this code, you can see I'm referencing a bunch of dependencies, JavaScript dependencies with different versions. These versions get out of date very quickly as new versions become available all the time. And it's very hard to always be checking for all the new versions and putting them in. What Renovate does is it comes along and it gives you suggestions. It says, here you go. There's a whole bunch of newer versions available. And so you can click on it and take a look. Let's have a look at this one. It suggests we update our TypeScript file from version 5.510 to 5.620. And it's provided some information about the versions, how many people are using it, how old they are, and whether or not it's likely to work in your code. It also provides information about the release notes, so you can run through and see all the different changes that occurred with the different versions. And it shows you exactly where to put those changes inside your file. There it is. It shows you how to update this one file here, the package JSON, updates lines 47 and 48, and put the new version there, 62. And if we accept that, then it'll go and update the code and we'll have newer versions. It also provides an issue that helps keep track of all the different updates. This is the dependency dashboard. And it shows already that it's opened all of these pull requests with recommendations to update. It's found all these dependencies in the package JSON file, and these are the versions that it's found. And also, it hasn't opened all the pull requests because it doesn't want you to keep too busy too quickly. So you can open these whenever you like, just by checking the box, and it opens up more pull requests for you to bring into your code. Sometimes it's a lot to deal with, lots of different pull requests with one update at a time. Sometimes they're grouped, like you can see here. All of the ones from the Jest mono repo have been put together so that you can make one change and update all of them at the same time. But otherwise, often it's just one single update in one file, and that can be time consuming. So they can be put together sometimes as a whole group, and you can update all of your versions in one go. Problem is, as you can see from the information provided, sometimes some of them have not been well adopted, some of them are not well trusted. It's hard to know whether you should accept all of them in one go. That's why the Mend offers a premium version with a feature where you can take away all the bad ones or group them together. So you can say, just give me the high confidence minor and patch, and then there's no gray or red ones appearing in here. And then you can keep all your hard to work with ones here, the low confidence majors. They can all be grouped together, and you can look at them later because they're obviously a bit too dangerous to accept. Even using different configurations so that you can push all the major updates to the dashboard, for instance, so that you don't even see those pull requests coming through. So those are different ways you can use Renovate, and there's lots of different ways you can configure it for all different sorts of things. And you can look into your own private packages internally. So that's Renovate in a nutshell. You can get it a few different ways. The easiest way is to run, if you're running on GitHub or Bitbucket Cloud, you can just get up and running with the app that's available. Let's go through that. Otherwise, you can run your own Renovate server, or if you need to, you can run the Renovate CLI, manually building your own runner. So let's take a look. What do we got? So first thing is Renovate is available on Bitbucket Marketplace in the Mend app. It's also available on the GitHub marketplace. The URL for the GitHub app is the github.com/apps/renovate. So you can get it for free, up and running straight away if you're on the cloud, GitHub or Bitbucket at the Mend app or the Renovate app. I'll show you now how I can get up and running. Let's say I've got a repo got my own repo I prepared earlier. It's the demo Renovate 2, which I'm sure they will see it here. It's got it's a new repo. It's got one file in it. It's got a bunch of Microsoft.NET dependencies. Some of them are a bit out of date. So I'm going to install Renovate to run on this repo. So I go to the GitHub app and I say configure, and I choose the account that I want to run on. Now I scroll down. It explains that if I turn this on, I'm going to get an onboarding pull request, which will give me a configuration file. And then I'll get a bunch of pull requests with updates. I'm happy with that. So here I get to say what to install it on. I can choose to install it on all repositories for my whole GitHub account. But be careful with that. If you've got a lot of repos and you hit all repositories, you'll get a pull request in every single one of them offering you to add a configuration file to your repo. And that might not be what you want. Instead, you might just want to use selected repos and turn them on one by one. In this case, I'm going to select repo and say demo Renovate 2. So I've now added that, and I can hit save. It's directing me immediately to the developer portal, which is at developer.mend.io. You can see that in the URL bar there. Developer.mend.io is the developer portal where you can see all the different repos that you've got configured for Renovate, and you can see the status of them. As you can see, some activated, some onboarding, which means they're still waiting for you to accept the onboarding pull request. This one's so new, doesn't even have a status yet. But if I can drill into it, and I can see there's a job running. In the recent jobs table, it's now running a job. A Renovate job is running on that. And I can hit this refresh button to check the status. And now it's done. In fact, I can drill into it to see the logs, turn on the info log, and you can see that it's created a branch called Renovate Configure, and it's created a pull request to configure Renovate. So if I go back and look at my repository and have a look in the pull requests, I see a pull request that says configure Renovate, and it's been opened by Renovate the bot. So when I look at this pull request, it says, hello, welcome to Renovate. If you don't want to join, just close this pull request and you'll be done. But otherwise, it found a file called .NET CS Proj full of package updates. And if you accept this, we're going to start giving you some pull requests. You'll see the merge confidence badges, and it'll limit it to 2 at a time so we don't overwhelm you. It says here, limited to 2 per hour so it doesn't swamp the resources. It has already found that we've got these dependencies, and it's recommended some updates already. And so we'll get those if we accept the pull request. You can see it's given one file. The file is a renovate.json file, and it's just got some default configuration. And if we go now and have a look back at the developer portal, we can see that at my Justo-Mend.org, Renovate 2 is now in onboarding. It's waiting for me to accept that onboarding pull request. So I'll go to the conversation over here, and I will accept the pull request. Now that will put that new file in my repo. So now my repo has a new file called renovate.json, which is right here. You can edit this file and change configuration. The first thing I like to do is just to rename it to JSON 5, because if it becomes a JSON 5 file, then it's a lot easier to then you can put comments in it, and it's more forgiving about commas at the end of lists. So you can use JSON 5 there. That's just as good. But in the meantime, let's go back at the portal. You'll notice that it's probably running a new job. Now that we've accepted it, it's automatically scheduled a new job to run because it's now going to onboard. Oh, and you can see now that it's created some updates. It's opened 2 of them already, but it's holding back the other 4 because it's only going to create 2 at a time. So if I go have a look, check my pull requests, here we go. Oh, it's already created 4 different pull requests. And we can see that you can upgrade the VS Build tools to this version. It's 12 days old, this one. The age is 12 days old, and it's been accepted by 5% of users. And of those, it's passed 100% of all tests running that have accepted it. So it's got high confidence. It looks like it's going to bump up this version 0.5 to version 10. Now, I tried this one last night, and it didn't work with my code. So I'm not going to accept this one. I'm going to let that go. If we look now at the issues, there's a dependency dashboard, and it says the same thing. It shows that we've opened up these 4, but there are 2 waiting to come. So that's how that works. And so now Renovate is running on my code. If I was to accept one of these pull requests, let's say I go to SDK version 15.01, I'll be happy with that. I'll take that pull request, and now I've used a Renovate pull request to update my code. My project is now on 15.01. So that's Renovate is now running, and we can go to the developer portal at any time. Sometimes it's good to give it a hard refresh to see what the updated data is down the bottom. You can see often when you expand the detected dependencies, it shows you what version you're on. It also shows you the latest version you can update, either in the same major version or the latest major version. So you've got your major update and your non-major update. And you'll see 15.01 and 17.10.407 are reflected here with the 15.01 and the other one showing up there. So it'll create those updates. It's running jobs and it's finished. Now when we refresh, there's less pull requests to change. And the 15.01's gone because we've already updated that. And you can see over in the issues over here, the same thing reflected. So that's, oh, wrong repo. So that's how Renovate runs on GitHub. You can also run Renovate on Bitbucket, of course. Here I've got some repos that shows the same thing in my Bitbucket. I've got a package JSON here with a bunch of different JavaScript files. It's created pull requests here, a whole lot of different pull requests, and you can drill into them and you get the same sort of information. And if you turn on issues, which you often have to do manually in Bitbucket, then you get the dependency dashboard. And so you have the same experience there, and the developer portal works on that. So that's running Renovate on the cloud with Bitbucket and GitHub. If you don't have GitHub or Bitbucket on the cloud, you can run your own Renovate server, Mend Renovate Community Edition and Mend Renovate Enterprise Edition. The self-hosted on-prem ways of running it, and it targets GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket. Other platforms will be opening up soon. So you can get your own job scheduler running that will just automatically run on your own repos, and also respond to activities like checking boxes and putting in code. You can go into the github.com renovate-CEEE website to get more information and docs and how to get started. If you want to set up your own GitHub app or your own GitLab apps, the instructions are all there about how to create the bots, how to get it up and going, what the configuration for your server. Otherwise, if you can't run your own server because you're not on GitHub, GitLab, or Bitbucket, you can use the CLI directly. Of course, the home of the Renovate CLI is Renovate bot/Renovate. And there's other ways of running it. Of course, you've got a GitHub action, which we've created, Mend has got up and running. There's also a GitLab runner. You can run it, or you can just kick off commands in your command line. For instance, you can just run docker run renovate/renovate, or you can even run an npm command. Let's see, we can run npx or renovate, and just go ahead and run renovate from a Docker or from renovate. So there's a bunch of different ways of running it. I recommend jump on the cloud if you can. If not, go and get the self-hosted server at Renovate CEEE. So there you go. That's Renovate, how you can get it. Hope that made sense. And of course, the Mend is the home of Renovate. You can find everything right there, mend.io.